My next guest made it his mission to right the wrongs of the legal system. In his new book, You Might Go to Prison Even Though You're Innocent, he details how he helped free people who were wrongfully convicted. Please welcome Justin Brooks. It's gonna be good.
So good to see you.
Have a seat. It's so good to see you. It's so nice to see you, Justin.
So great to see you.
I'm glad you're here. Now, you are a criminal defense attorney, and you've made a career helping free wrongfully convicted people.
Yep.
Why did you decide to do this?
So 27 years ago, I'm sorry, my voice is a little rough
okay.
today. A lot of New York air. I started representing a woman on death row in Chicago, and later learned that she was factually innocent.
Yeah.
And it was so shocking to me. She had never had a trial. Her lawyer pled her out, and she was sentenced to be executed. And that case just changed my whole life and made me want to devote the rest of my life to freeing innocent people from prison.
Now, we first met, I had known about the California Innocence Project a little bit, but we first met when your case was made into a movie. Brian Banks was a high school football player. He was wrongfully convicted of rape, and I played Brian's mother. So we have a little bit of a clip here. I still get emotional.
This woman can act.
Oh, I did.
She can act.
Thank you so much. I still get emotional at that scene, and Greg Kinnear played you in the movie. But what were the circumstances that led to Brian's arrest?
So Brian was one of the best high school football players in the country. He was on his way to USC on a full scholarship, and everyone said he was going to the pros. And then one day, a classmate accused him of rape. And it ended up, it was a false accusation, and years later, she came forward and said that it never happened.
And meanwhile, he pled no contest, and he served, was it 6 years?
Spent 6 years in prison, another 5 years on parole as a convicted sex offender with an ankle monitor, couldn't play football. All his dreams went away for a long time.
You know, and he pled no contest on the advice of his lawyer. How effective is it to plead no contest?
Thank you for asking that question, because a lot of people think pleading no contest is significantly different than pleading guilty, and it's not. The ramifications are the same. The only difference is in a separate civil suit, you didn't admit to doing it. But in terms of going to sentencing, just like my client who got the death penalty on a plea bargain, Brian got 6 years in prison on his plea.
Oh, man. You know, the thought of going to prison for a crime that you didn't even commit, that's frightening, first of all. And you say that it happens more often than you think.
Yeah, people don't want to believe it happens because then you got to believe it might happen to you.
Yeah.
And the reality is it might happen to you. No one knows exactly how many innocent people are in prison, but we've now documented more than 3,000 cases of wrongful conviction in the United States. And those are the lucky ones, because those are the ones where we had evidence that could prove their innocence later on. And we've walked 4% of the people sentenced to death in the United States off death row after finding they're innocent.
Wow. You know, you personally and the Innocence Project, you have helped free over 30 wrongfully convicted. So how many, do you have even a guesstimate of how many innocent people are in prison?
Well, if you think about it, if 4% of the people we sentence to death, which are the most serious cases, get the most media attention, get the most lawyers, the most scrutiny, how many in simple drug cases that are so difficult? I have never reversed a drug conviction after you've been convicted, because it's almost impossible to prove innocence later on if the jury didn't believe you at the time of trial.
Wow. Now, in these cases, how prevalent is race in these cases?
Yeah. I mean, people who believe the criminal justice system isn't racist must also believe that society isn't racist.
Right.
Because it's just a microcosm of society.
Yeah.
It's people coming into a building every day and making decisions, and they bring their own biases with them, their own prejudices with them. So absolutely, race is a major issue, and all the statistics pan that out. More people of color go to prison, and you're more likely to go to prison if your victim is white in a violent crime. Race seriously implicates our criminal legal system.
Justin, I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad that you wrote this book to help folks. I want to say thank you so much for being here. And Justin's book, You Might Go to Prison Even Though You're Innocent, is out April 4th in studio audience. You are all taking home a copy.